Have you ever met someone on an online dating site and thought, wow, this guy is perfect for me, or she is simply amazing, only to find out they were hiding a deep, dark secret? They plan to vote for Hillary. FreedomLovers.us was created for singles who want to exchange ideas and a love for freedom. People who are looking for solutions to create and defend freedom in the real world, and at the same time, getting that once in a lifetime chance to find their true soulmate. Whether you are interested in meeting your soulmate, making new friends, networking, or hanging out with that like-minded liberty lover, visit freedomlovers.us. It's the first free dating site and community. So patriots, don't waste your time with other dating sites. FreedomLovers.us is the place where like-minded singles...
Here we go, guys. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with Lucas Zanna on K-Talks 1340 AM and on United States.fm network. This is the final hour about love. You know, I like in this hour to touch different things. We went the last couple of weeks from Kama Sutra to different type of things like jealousy. And of course, we had a couple of weeks ago also a great lady I really enjoy. And we were trying to make the point pretty much about all the different dangers that we are now surrounded and under attack by, in my opinion, a global plan to pretty much destroy humanity. And we talk about that from, you know, the estrogen in the meat and to the fluoride in the water, GMO food, vaccines, just as some generic but pretty much, you know, wide vision of what's going on. And then, of course, I wanted to invite you guys, to, after I gave you the keywords, to do researches. Now, the first thing for me to fix a problem is to acknowledge that we have a problem. And at this point, if you acknowledge that we have a problem, that we are under attack at different levels, not just economically, not just, you know, morally, from these globalists, but also in our health, you know, we must find solution. And this is pretty much my purpose of the show, to invite to explore new solutions, to try to think out of the box. And that's why I brought back today with me this incredible lady. Her name is Ellis from the East Coast, and she's also an author. You know, she's a professional in at least researching and putting together all the information when it comes down to find natural cures. Okay, so, and I want to give like a little premise, as I do every time, for all the FDA bootlickers out there. I'm not trying to give any medical advice, and not even Kat, I don't speak for her. We're here just to give you pretty much information and do your own verification. And my main goal is try to empower you to think with your own brain and find solutions. And today I want to bring you the solution with this book that I have in front of me, authored by Kat Ellis, and the name of the book is Prepper's Natural Medicine. Let me bring Kat here. Kat, are you there?
Yes, I am. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you for coming back. You know, I really found more than me, you know, I'm pretty much, in my opinion, counts very much little. A lot of listeners, they enjoyed the conversation we had a few weeks ago about the different dangers of this conspiracy, if you want to do it, about the different elements in the water, in the food, in the air, blah, blah, blah. Now, today, I want to focus with you about your book. Tell me everything you want to tell me about your book. Start again with the name. Please, go ahead.
Okay, so this book, this is sort of the bridge here between my herbalist life and my prepper life. You know, I guess that was sort of something that was always bound to happen. Those two worlds would clash. But what I wanted to accomplish with this book is to provide to provide a resource to show people how to make medicines with things they can grow right in their own backyard, to empower people to do so. And I wanted to write it in such a way that they would feel completely confident in doing so. I mean, I think back to when I first started working with herbs and some of the questions that I had pop up when I would read books and things I just didn't quite understand. I would read the description of it, and it just didn't quite click, or explanations weren't given, or there was an assumption that people reading it already sort of knew some of it, or, you know, so I kind of was thinking about that. I'm like, you know, if people need to learn skills for, let's say, at some time where perhaps maybe the medical system fails for whatever reason, that they have some kind of a backup. But they should feel confident in being able to do so and start working with these skills right now, because the time to learn a new skill really is not after the crisis takes place, it's beforehand, so that, it's more of a smooth transition. But I gave everyone the information that they need to learn how to make medicines at home out of what they can grow on their own. They should not, if they have questions, they can also get in touch with me very easily through my website, and I'm happy to answer any question whatsoever about the material that's in there. So the book takes you through a skills section, and I have a very conversational tone in the book, so it should be very easy to understand. And I take you through, what the various terminology means, so that we're all on the same page, so that there's no unfamiliar jargon as the book continues. And I tell you exactly how to make an infusion, a decoction, herbal vinegars, and how to make tinctures, and I explain all of it, so that when we get to the middle part of the book there, which is a materia medica, which is a listing of therapeutic agents. In this case, it happens to be herbs, and I picked 50 of them that grow in most places around the country. And I did that because I wanted this to be applicable to most people. Now, if you happen to live, in the outskirts of Alaska, this may not work for you, but if you happen to live in other places with an extreme climate, you probably have other local herbs that I didn't include, but you might have some that easily swap out. There almost always is. But these should be accessible all over the country. You should be able to grow them.
Perfect.
And I focused on these also, as opposed to wildcrafting or going out and, looking for them, because every region in the country has a little different wildlife, and honestly, I think that would be better for either another book or a series of books or something like that. But this was so that everybody could have, this would apply to the most people. And then after that, I should say in that section, I go through a description of what the herbs' therapeutic benefits are, and I list the ways that they're made, whether it's usually taken as a tincture, whether it's usually taken as a tea, what parts of the plant you use, and what the dosage would be. I thought that was very important to include, because that's something that I saw missing from a lot of herbal books that I read when I got started. It's great that, cayenne may be able to help you with pain management, but, how do you take it? How do you apply it? If you were going to take a tea for some type of a respiratory infection, then how often do you take that every day? How much of it do I have to have? So I wanted to include dosage. I included 3 different ways that you can calculate dosage for children, because they have different they have a different dosage requirement. And I included after that a section on with recipes, and within this I have some that focus on like first aid and acute injuries. I have another section on chronic injuries in general, family, and general health care. And I do have a short section in there that is involved with birth, because even during a crisis, birth is not going to stop. I mean, if suddenly we had civil unrest tomorrow, people who are 8 months pregnant a month from now are still going to be delivering babies. So, that probably also needs its own separate treatment, but I wanted to at least include some of the basics for that. And then the book concludes with a whole resource section where I've got charts that break it down for the pain relievers, anti-inflammatories, various antibacterial, antiviral agents, and so on, and where you can get the supplies, where you can get further training. So there is something, I think in this book, pretty much, I think, for everyone, whether you're a beginner or whether maybe you've got a little bit more experience. But what I wanted to make sure is that the information was really easy to understand, and it was clear, so that when you're done going through it, however you want to use it, you can read it from beginning to end. You can jump around through sections just for what's relevant to you, but that everyone, when they picked it up, would feel confident that they understood what they read and be able to use herbal medicine safely. That was the whole goal there.
Perfect. Let me give you a break so you can rest for a moment. And now let me yeah, I agree with you. First of all, it's, by the way, I have in front of me a copy that I voluntarily order on Amazon. I really like to support authors, especially when they have something good to share. I think this book is very valuable because I believe, forget the emergency. I like to enjoy nature and use natural remedies, whenever I can, because if I have things that, like, for example, let's say an inflammation, okay, I try to stay avoid from antibiotic. I have many times in the past, for example, some inflammatory part of my mouth, like an abscess, and I use, for example, propolis, and it did an incredible job, and I didn't need to go to the dentist, and I didn't need to go to get antibiotics. So I really believe in this, and I was lucky when I was a child. I was in Italy. I grew up on my grandfather's farm, okay? And somehow my family, especially my grandmother then, she had a book. It was the herbs of this Frate Indovino. It's like a monk. And he wrote this beautiful manual with all different, drawings and the different herbs and the different way to use them. And I was probably about 6. I was just able to read barely at the time. And I was so excited about these images and the idea that you could heal yourself with the nature. And I started to, study, at least do experiments. I used to do my different infusion with different herbs to be calm or to relax or to, I don't know, to get strength. I was really kind of like a 7 years old. I was kind of an alchemist pretty much. But now I really believe, especially in the times that we are living, your book is an essential tool to have in every library, and I agree with you. It's written very easily. Even a guy with an accent like myself, I didn't really have any, official schools degree here in this country, but I can read it every word, and I like the way you divided it because, for example, at the end, you go into different type of problems, like, for example, or even better, solution, antimicrobial, antispasmodic, and different type of solutions that you pretty much write down in alphabetical orders with the herbs. Now, to start to inspire people to keep things simple and start to really, everybody can do it. If you can, let's say, 5 basic plants that they should be almost be a must. If I had to, there are so many plants. In like, for example, right now I have vases. I have a greenhouse, and I have around my kitchen a lot of vases, and I keep my sage, I keep my garlic, I keep my thyme, and my basil, all the different herbs that normally I cook with. If I had to think about 5 plants or 5 herbs that I would use in most daily situations for this type of purpose, like a natural medicine, what would you suggest?
Oh, narrowing me down to 5 is tough, but I'm going to give this a shot here. So the first one that comes to mind is peppermint, because this is so versatile, can be used for so many things, more than I can even possibly list. You get so much use out of peppermint. It tastes good. You can use it to flavor other herbal concoctions that may not taste so good. Kids will take it readily. It's wonderful for respiratory infections. It's wonderful to settle the stomach. It's wonderful if, even if you have, intestinal issues going on, it can help cool the skin down if you've got a bad fever going on. Although it's not always a great idea to cool down a fever. But if it gets too high and it's getting out of control, then peppermint can step in. It helps to prevent rodents from getting into your house. They don't like it. They don't want anything to do with it. And rats and mice bring disease. I know some people keep them as pets, but out in the wild, we still have plague out here, in some places in the west of the United States, and they're brought on by rodents. So, and other viruses like Hanta and so on. So, it repels mice, it repels rodents, it repels ants, it can be repels mosquitoes. So it's just so useful, and it smells nice to us, and that's a must, and it grows so easily. I mean, trying to keep it contained is more of an issue than trying to get it to grow. So peppermint's got to be the first.
I agree with you, and by the way, it's funny because I have exactly the same problem. Not even a problem. I think it's a good thing. I have a big vase that it keeps growing every season. I don't even need to replant it. Peppermint is there. I like to cook with peppermint, by the way. And I agree with you. Another important thing I found out, I live in a rural area, and I learned this few years ago, for example, especially if you have the oil essence of peppermint and you can spread it on you. Not only you keep away mosquitoes, but also more important, spiders don't like it, and I hate to sleep. I go sometimes in the wilderness, a little bit out there, and there are different type of spiders, especially in Arizona. We got black widows, we got the spider wolves or whatever. And I did an experiment one time. I captured like a couple little black widows, and I got a little bit of cotton full of peppermint, okay, and I put them into this bottle and in this glass container, and they want to stay the hell away from it, And seriously, they really hate it. So this is good. You sleep in the night, and if you have a place where you are maybe surrounded by spiders, that would be pretty dangerous and freaky. So I always put my little peppermint oil on me.
Yes, and the thing is that if you want to even get into this to the level where you're making and distilling your own essential oils, it's really not. You really need a huge amount of plant material in most cases to get a little bit of oil. But peppermint has a lot of the volatile oils in the leaf. So if there were one oil that would be a really good candidate to make your own essential oils at home, peppermint would be on that list. Another herb that I would also include would be thyme, because it is antiviral and it's antibiotic, especially for the respiratory system.
Wow.
So if you do a nice herbal steam with that, you're breathing that right into your respiratory system. It's wonderful, no matter whether it's a bacterial or a viral infection. And also for disinfecting, it also has a lot of the volatile oil in there. So if you did want to get into distilling essential oils, it's kind of a complicated thing, but if you did, thyme would be another good suggestion. Garlic has to be on there for both its anti-infective properties, its immune-stimulating properties, but also for its heart healthy qualities. It's a vasodilator. It's known for being a heart healthy food. So this is, I guess, where food and herbalism, is it medicinal? Is it, just a culinary herb? It kind of blurs with garlic, but it's a wonderful plant to have around. I think if you're eating a lot of cooked garlic, you should have a fairly healthy heart. It's one of those components of, I guess the Mediterranean diet is part of that. There's a lot of garlic consumed, and if you have it raw or if you have it made, let's say, into an herbal vinegar, that can help, with your immune system. And if you apply it topically, it's a wonderful antibiotic when used in that way. So garlic is a definite must-have on that list. So that's 3 of them.
One second, Kat. Only 1 second. I like to 1 second to refresh people's mind. Think about, guys. You don't need to be an expert. You don't need to have a farm. With vases, instead of time that, flowers are beautiful. Don't get me wrong. I like flowers too. But prioritize. With vases, you can start to get a vase full of peppermint. Very simple. Then you have another one with thyme. That, by the way, it's great to cook too. You enjoy it. Garlic is so simple to grow garlic. Kat, you want to give them the idea how it's so simple to grow garlic? How do you grow garlic, Kat?
You put it in the ground before the winter, and then you pull it up in the spring, and it's wonderful. You can also put it in the ground in the spring and pull it up in the fall. You really don't have to do a lot to it.
Just get a single cloves. You buy, first of all, the good source. Find the good organic garlic, okay? Don't get GMO stuff.
Yeah.
When you got the good source, instead of planting the whole garlic in the ground, you get each clove, and you put it in the ground, of course, in the right direction. You can see pretty much where is the green is going to come out. Anyway, and then at that point you give water, and you will see how much beautiful out of each clove you will have a garlic. And this is true, by the way. My grandfather, from my mother's side, he died, was almost 90s, and he was doing great till he went to a doctor, unfortunately, to an hospital. But regardless, his blood levels, his cholesterol, and he used to eat everything. he was doing great, you know. And one of the things he always had in his diet, he used to have a lot of garlic during the day and also red wine. That's one thing I tell you, and it's true. I mean, and sometimes, you know, people that are on this medication, you know, I'm not going to give you any medical advice. Go to your doctor if you want. It's up to you. But think about all the side effects you have with all these anti-cholesterol medications. Is it really worth it? I don't know. I would first explore, you know, if I had a cholesterol problem, I would first explore the opportunity to cure myself with diet before you go to go all these medications that really are so dangerous, by the way, my opinion. But please continue now. So we have a peppermint, garlic, and thyme. What's next?
The next thing I would say would be cayenne. And cayenne contains something called capsaicin. And capsaicin is known for interrupting, it's called substance P. It's a neurotransmitter that sends information from the nerves up to the brain and lets the brain know, oh, there's pain here. So you can get cayenne and you can make this into a salve, and you can work this into a site where there's nerve damage, where there's been where you've got some neuralgia, or you can use it over where there's been sore muscles. You can use cayenne internally. You can make a tincture out of this. You can then take this or in an herbal vinegar if you prefer that. And it will also, it's a wonderful vasodilator, and it brings circulation to the extremities. So it brings it out to the fingertips, out to the toes, and so on. And this is wonderful for people who may have some poor circulation, but also, it's like I said, it's a vasodilator if you have high blood pressure. Now, doctors won't tell you, well, that cayenne is a vasodilator and it's good for high blood pressure. What they'll tell you is if you go for surgery and they ask you, you want any medications or you take any supplements, you say, well, I take cayenne either in capsules or you take, the extract or however you take it. They'll tell you, well, you need to stop that 2 weeks before your surgery because there's a risk of bleeding. Because why? Because it's a vasodilator, and because it helps to thin the blood, and because it helps, it helps decrease the clotting factors. All those same reasons that you take, blood pressure medication for. So they can say it when it's a negative, presented in that way, but they can't, but they won't, acknowledge it when it's a positive. So, so anyway, it's an interesting thing. So for helping with both high blood pressure, which is one of, those really chronic illnesses here, and also bringing it to the extremities is important for people with diabetes, and, and also for handling pain throughout the body, whether it's a muscle injury or whether it's nerve injury. So finally, the last one is going to vary by where you are in the United States, but there is an herb in every part of the United States that contains this substance, and the substance is berberine. And, if you live in the South or the Southwest, you might find it in chaparral. You might find it it's also called creosote out there. Or you might find it in a plant called algarita. If you're in the Northwest, or in other places, you might find it as Oregon grapefruit. You might find it elsewhere as golden seal, although that plant is endangered. Out here on the East Coast, we can get something called the amber cork tree or philodendron amaranth, and that's actually an invasive plant here, but everywhere throughout the United States. You just have to kind of look up at your region and search for an herb that contains berberine, because berberine will act. It's a local antibiotic. It's not systemic, but it's a local antibiotic, so you can apply it to wounds externally. You could make it into a tincture and put it into a spray and spray on your throat. It might, help if you have something like strep throat. If you have any kind of stomach or intestinal infection, because when you take it, the berberine doesn't pass through the intestinal wall, so it stays there. So it's good for things like an intestinal infection, but it won't get into the bloodstream and become systemic. So if you do have some type of stomach bug, you could certainly take it for that. It is a bitter. All of these herbs are bitter, so they help with the liver. But more so than that, there was a study done. It was a 3-month trial where berberine was given in a capsule form, 500 milligrams, 3 times a day, right before the meal.
How do you spell this name, berberine? How do you spell it?
It's in the book, but it's spelled BER, berberine, BERINE. So
Berberine.
BER.
Page
Yeah.
56. Page 56. You're right. Page 56. Berberine.
Right.
Okay, it's an
Right,
alkaloid.
and it's found in a number of different herbs, but it's this one. It's a chemical constituent that gives it a yellow color and a bitter taste. And there was a study done. It was done over 3 months where it was compared to metformin, and the results were that it was shown to be just as effective as metformin for managing spikes in blood sugar, blood glucose after a meal, and there were no negative side effects found, but there were actually several positive side effects found that they weren't expecting. Some of those included a lowering of overall cholesterol, a better balance between HDL and LDL cholesterol. There was lowering of liver inflammation in those who had it's called fatty liver disease, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, and it's an inflammation, and there's enzymes that are overactive in there. So there was a lowering of that, and there was a lowering of triglycerides, which are fat in the blood. So there was a whole bunch of metabolic benefits in addition to the fact that it was shown to be just as effective as metformin, which is the number one type 2 diabetic medication prescribed in the country. So there were no negative side effects. It doesn't have that effect like when you take an antibiotic where it kills off the good bacteria too. It actually restrains. There was a study done in China showing that it restrains the more harmful bacteria, and it actually strengthens the gut wall. So all those autoimmune diseases that are connected to leaky gut would benefit from the addition of berberine. So sort of like peppermint, how there's so many uses for it. Any herb that contains berberine, whatever grows most easily in your area, I'd be looking at that.
Very good. Yes, I was reading, by the way, it's something that, I really think it's so important because, as you said, even if you don't have the specific herb there are different solutions where you can find this element. Depends which part of the world you live. And another thing about diabetes, I mean, especially now, people that maybe you're on medication, you think you have your doctor and you got your prescription, that's fine. I mean, but think about if there is an emergency. Think if there is a real catastrophe. Think if you don't have any more access to the basic things that now you do. Things I really believe with diet, first of all, could be a lot of, I'm not doctor, as I said, but I see what people drink every day. And if you drink like, let's say, 4 cans every day, or even a couple of cans every day, or whatever type of sodas you drink with all this corn syrup, it's proven that just this quantity of this corn syrup or sugar, whatever you get in your system, with time, it may really gives you the chance, and I'm being sarcastic here, to become diabetes, at least the type of diabetes that is created by food. It's like it's not genetic. So right there, that could be treated in a natural way. And there are natural herbs that really could help you out. I used to get, I don't have diabetes, but I like to get in coffee, normally when I get my coffee, a little spice that I don't know if you're familiar with that. It's a red color, cinnamon. Have you ever heard about that?
Yes. And cinnamon is that's very useful for a number of things. From making things taste nicer, but also if you take it in quantity of it, it'll also help with blood glucose and managing it. And it's also lovely to help with a sore throat.
Mm-hmm. So there are things out there. Of course, if you really have some genetic problem like real diabetes, you may find other solution. But I really believe that many of our diseases, they could be taken care with the right diet, and of course with the nature really could give us a great help to avoid all these chemical things. By the way, I really like the book is like a manual. It's paper. I bought a paperback, and I like it that it's something you can put in your backpack or wherever you go. It's like very practical. Okay, it's nothing fancy. We're not talking about something to. This is like a real practical, useful book, okay, that you can consult in a very easy way. How long did it take you to write it down, Kat?
I worked on this. There was about 8 months.
Okay.
Total.
I know that takes time. I'm trying to write books. There are always some distractions. When I write songs, I kind of fast. Books are kind of big commitment, but I like it. So I want to just say, out there, guys, I like to, in this show, to bring you, first of all, awareness. We have a lot of problems around us, but I also believe we still have a lot of power to create our own microcosm, to control at least our own little world, and to find solutions. And one of the best way to say, pretty much to give the middle fingers to the enemies, is to find the way to be healthy, to be independent, and to be happy. And I think, we still have access to plants. Let's start to at least learn, at least start to try to slowly to trim down all the different things that we get from big pharma and start to find natural solution. For example, let's say people have, small things, you're stressed out, you come back from work, you have a lot of problems, bills to pay, and many times people go, okay, let me go get this antidepressant, let me get this drug that's gonna keep me calm. There are out there so many solutions naturally they can give you the type of relief from stress. Give me one if you can, Kat.
My favorite would be for daytime would be rhodiola, because it's not gonna make you drowsy, but it just helps keep everything in its proper perspective. Things don't take on more significance than they should. It's an adaptogen, and it helps just for you to it helps you adapt to stress. That's specifically what an adaptogen does. It helps you adapt to stress. So when someone is loaded with stress through their daily lives, they just sort of, when they take the rhodiola, they just kind of have this sort of sense of being, at peace, more well-being. They're not tired. They're not hyped up. They're just more even and grounded. Probably grounded is probably the best word. They feel, lighter, but they feel more centered and just okay. Like, I can handle this. And, honestly, that's the mindset that we have to have when we're facing, the bombardment of nonsense that comes on the television. We shouldn't be watching television half the time anyway. Yeah. But let's just do all the commercials and the advertising and the programming, literally programming. Yeah. Establishing this is the norm, this is the normal, this is what everyone should be doing and taking and eating and drinking and this and that. But beyond that, but the bills and the kids and the work and the boss and this and that. So if we can just kind of, not feel so stressed out, and, because people start to feel like a rubber band being pulled at either end, and it starts to fray in the middle, like it's going to snap anytime soon. And, this is not the way we're supposed to walk around in life. We have these stress hormones, like cortisol, that serve a very important function. They're our fight or flight response. This is like, oh, I'm being chased by, a bear. I need to react. It's that kind of a thing. But then once you're done, the stressful event is over, and you're supposed to calm down. But our modern stresses are not like that. They don't go away. There is no point where you get to just calm down. And if you, especially in the United States, where we have this concept of work, and, we don't build in any time during the day to just stop and pause for a moment and let that stress calm down. And, people may laugh at that. I used to get a lot of resistance in my massage practice, when I would tell people you need to build in some time during the day where you just relax. Yeah. And they're like, but people here, I guess, have this sort of a badge of courage or something, or a badge of honor that they work so many hours. But your stress hormones are changing you. Your stress hormones are causing problems because they're not supposed to course through your bloodstream 24/7. They will interrupt your sleep. They will cause you aches and pains. They will cause you to feel fatigued. They will cause you to have an altered mood. You're not supposed to be in that state all the time. And when you are, you're not in your... That is not the best frame of mind to be making important decisions, or to feel like you can handle those everyday stresses, never mind when something major happens. Yes. Because then you're just burnt out at that point.
Exactly. I tell you, I come from a place that normally people at lunch, at least they used to. I'm talking about 18 years ago when I left, have a break. It's called lunch. Everybody goes back home, or at least you have a moment that you really stop, okay? And maybe I
Yeah.
remember when I was a kid, my family, after lunch, there was also an hour to sleep, and then they all go back to their stores and things, I mean, almost like another world. And I really realized I've been myself the last few years kind of in the trap that there is like a non-stop. And I realize now that I'm trying to pretty much take care a little bit more about myself, Instead of stretching and non-stop for 8 hours or 10 hours, normally I work even 12 hours, I like to really take a break, and stop everything, turn the phone off, and start to let the stress go, whatever it is, and start to just relax. And you will see that also you see everything from a different perspective. Otherwise, you almost always focusing just to the almost the tunnel vision, and you miss the big picture. And not only is bad for your health, but also I think it's bad for your soul, it's bad for your, as a human being, you miss the big picture of what we're doing here. We're not just here to make a buck. I mean, we are going through this journey called life, but there is more than just working and, making a dollar. There is also something else. Now, what I want to say, what I like about this book is not just about what you can drink or infusion, but also what I like, you also make very interesting solution, like for example, tinctures, and also different powder, especially for people that they could be, as you say, prepping in a world that may be no a doctor. Let's say you have a wound, like a cut, or even just some sort of a trauma. So what I like, guys, if you're a prepper, or if you are a person that anyway live in the wilderness, and you may not have access, even now, you don't need to wait for the end of the world, to a extreme situation. Like let's say, for example, I was looking at this wound powder antibacterial, or there is also this wound wash. This is amazing stuff. It really could save your life, in my opinion, at least to have this knowledge and to have the ingredients ready, because you don't want to have just the book and then you're going to start to read the book when somebody's bleeding in front of you or is sick. Okay, try to at least some basic preparation. And one more thing I want to say, I would like you to remind the website where people can contact you. So if they have any question, please go ahead.
Yes, my website is herbalprepper.com, and I have a contact form right on the website. It's down in the footer. I have a contact page. It's easy to spot. So if you have any questions about anything that's in the book, or if or anything that's on the website, just fire me off an email, and I try to get back to people, relatively within a couple of days, relatively soon, and I try to answer everybody individually.
Perfect. Listen, I want to thank you again, Kat, and I want to say, guys, seriously, for me, the purpose of this show is to bring you valuable information, because at the end of the day, more prepared we are as a community, and more we can face together what's coming. But all starts with the individual, so don't wait for somebody else to do their part. You do your own part, and all together we can be prepared. That's my goal. And I also want to remind you, this show is an act of love, okay? I bring here people that I really believe they could be valuable with information to you. And they're not even my sponsors. You, the listener, are my sponsor if you want me to stay on the air. So I really, if you think that this information is valuable, I want you to help me. You can go to any of my websites, and today I can offer you like zanna.us, zanna.us. And you know what I do for a living? I write songs. You can go to any of my website. You can download any of my songs for just 99 cents. And just even with 99 cents, you can keep the show free, independent, and I can keep bringing you great guests like Kat Ellis. Kat, thank you very much. I give you a virtual hug to you. And meanwhile, I keep studying your book, okay?
All right, thank you. Same to you.
Thank you. Hey, you're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom. Don't go away, because now we have the final part of hour number 3, the final hour.
get lost in our pride. When the day will come, I wanna be with you. I wanna raise my eyes to the sky. When the day will come, I wanna be with you. I wanna raise my eyes, we will fly. Oh, I can see golden fields of light. I can feel peace and quiet. I can feel his love, it's sublime. And all I bring with me are love and our dreams, the memories of our lives. When the day will come, I wanna be with you. I wanna raise my eyes to the skies, to the sky. When the day will come, be with you. Yeah, I wanna raise my eyes, we will fly, when the day will come, I wanna be with you. I wanna raise my eyes, we will fly.
He's a songwriter, a poet, a rifleman,
I'm not afraid,
and a constitutional activist.
I'm not afraid,
Italian by birth,
I'm not afraid,
American by choice. Gianluca Zanna
I'm not afraid.
and his new CD, Love, Guns, and Freedom. 16 powerful songs on one CD from the heart of a patriot. For download or to order the CD, go to www.lovegunsfreedom.com. That's www.lovegunsfreedom.com. Lyrics for your mind, music for your heart. Gianluca Zanna's new CD, Love, Guns, and Freedom.
Okay, guys, this is the final part of the today's show, the final hour. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with Luca Zanna. This show it's about love and guns and freedom. This is the hour. Normally, I talk pretty much about love. Today, we talk about this great guest, regarding preparation, medical preparation from herbs. But normally, I would talk here about different things, like more related to love. Today, there is some sort of bad news that you already heard during the week. This act of madness and hate crime, I would like to say it. This psychopath that pretty much who shot these journalists, these reporters, allegedly. Allegedly, why? Because I don't really know. At this point, I think it's good to have a final investigation what happened. Even, of course, the news already gave us the final solution, the final package news. I don't know for sure. I've been watching this Virginia shooting with this black shooter who pretty much hated white, I understand. He had some problems, racial problems. By the way, he was also an Obama supporter. Let's not forget that. And he was considered a liberal. So if you want to, why I don't mention all these things? If I was a white man, I was a conservative white man, would be pretty much on the front line, on the headlines. But regardless, I don't know really exactly what happened down there. All I know that what I see on video for sure raises some questions. I don't really see blood. I don't see shells. I don't see any impact when this lady, she was shot. The reporter was shot by this shooter, alleged shooter. Normally, even a 9mm would do some sort of impact, and you will see a concussion. You will see something, flesh, blood, something. I didn't see anything moving. Seriously. There is also, from the point of view, the camera point of view, you will see that maybe different lighting, but the color of the jacket is different. The hand color is different. But I don't want to go in this conspiracy right now because I don't have all the information I would like to have. But for sure, one thing I want to say. The bodies are still warm, and the first thing comes out in the media, the parent of this alleged woman was shot, and of course all the administration and politicians like the Clinton and the Obama administration, they couldn't wait 1 second to start to push for more gun legislations or gun restrictions. I mean, this is so sad, because they really think that we are so stupid. I said many times, I don't care if 99.9% of the people out there commit a crime. I cannot be, you cannot be, we individuals cannot be penalized and punished for somebody else's misbehavior or criminal behavior. That's the most important thing. Because today, let's say last night, how many people died of DUI because of negligence or criminal behavior of somebody who was drinking and driving? I'm sure more than one, probably thousands. Go to look at the statistics. So that's the fact. Are we going to, forbid and outlaw all beverages, alcoholic beverages, because somebody doesn't know how to drive and without drinking? No, that's the point. So same story with guns. I will never accept any type of such behavior. Now, talking about guns, I don't want to spend much time on this one. I know the games. We know their games. They will try to use every crisis, no matter if it's real or if it's been fabricated, to try to destroy our Second Amendment. And, if you heard me during the second hour, we were talking about guns. I really think this is the final plan for the elite to disarm the American people, because to become complete slaves, to take over our properties, to take over our pensions, and also to allow foreign enemies to conquer us, we must be disarmed. So this administration is continuing the plan, and there is still little time before he leaves office. If he will leave office, we'll see. But the point is, that's what exactly they're trying to do. Now, so all I can say, they can scream and yell, they can do whatever they want. I will not comply with any unconstitutional, with any illogical, and more important, with any type of fascistic laws that restricts my gun rights. Okay? Now, talking about guns, I'm supposed to have right now also a guest, a lady, who she's a Facebook friend of mine. I thought, she was she's a smart lady in many areas. No, she wasn't. She's a smart lady in many areas. And, but, I'm supposed to be here in the hour of love and talk about some topics. But she told me that in a conversation before the interview that, she was kind of shocked a little bit and disturbed by my displaying guns, okay, in my Facebook pages. And, I said that's fine, as a fine. And so what happened, I just posted on Facebook without mentioning her name. Of course, I would never do that. I wanted to keep her privacy. I posted this little letter that I had pretty much good feedback from different friends. And the letter says that, a Facebook friend told me that she's kind of intimidated by my displaying of guns. I have not the ambition to please everybody, and I respect her taste, of course. But all I can say to this lady, do not look at my post. But I would like to articulate some logic and also some input about this matter. And also say, by the way, don't look at my post, and if you feel like it, maybe you should also reconsider our friendship. But more important, I wanted to give her some logic. Number one, my dear friend, or former friend, since now you block me, I guess, just because I posted this on my page, on my Facebook page. Number one, I do carry a gun, not because I am afraid, but because I made a conscious decision to do not be afraid. And I'm ready to stand against evil if I have to. So that's the most important thing. I do not carry a gun because I'm afraid of anything. No. I'm carrying a gun because I decided that I do not want to be afraid, and I'm ready to risk my life if I have to face evil. That's the bottom line. Number two, I do carry a gun not as a symbol of violence, but a symbol of freedom and peace. Yes, people say, what are you talking about? The gun is to kill. No, the gun is also an instrument to save lives, and more important, instrument to keep yourself free. Slaves throughout history of humanity had always one thing in common. They were all disarmed. That's very important. So for me, the gun is a tool of freedom. Number three, I do carry a gun because it's like garlic on a vampire. It helped me out to spot a liberal before I can smell it. And I don't even want to call it liberal, because the true meaning of liberal means liberty. No, you're a fascist, you're a statist. That's what you are. So I can smell you. The gun helped me out to spot you out before even I can smell your stench. That's the bottom line. Sorry to be rude, but that's the fact. It really does. If I go in a room, if I go in a place, and I'm open carry, I can spot out the fascist out there that doesn't like me with a gun just because he or she thinks so, before even I can smell them. So that's great. And to conclude, the gun is like a hammer. You can use it to build a house or to destroy a skull. You can use a gun to take a life or to save a life. It is the person behind the gun who makes the difference. So now I hope I made clear my position on guns, but at the end of the day, I do not really care if you like it, my gun or not. My Second Amendment right is not for debate, and is not for a popularity contest. And yes, I can. Luca Zanna. I posted this on Facebook, and it was good. I had a good feedback from different people. Everybody was saying whatever they were saying. Mostly, I say 99.99%. I think all of them, my friends, they like what I said, but that's fine. And I hope always somebody doesn't like what I say. That's great. But the problem was that I didn't even mention the name of this lady, because there is no reason to mention her name. It's my personal, private conversation we had. But of course, she unfriended me and blocked me, like whatever. Okay, maybe that's, I like guns now even more, because if we cannot have a debate or talking about important things like this, maybe we must find out each other better who we are. Now, this is pretty much a different show, this part of the end of the part. I would like to remind you, first of all, this show is free for you, but I work hard for this show, and I'm not counting on any commercial sponsors. I count on your help. If you want to keep this show free and keep this format that we can talk about everything, and talking about topics that normally many commercial radio stations you couldn't, please go to my website, or one of my websites, www.zanna.com. You can buy anything you see on that site, from 99 cents to any of my songs, or buy CDs, or buy one of my prints. I appreciate it. This way I can keep this show free. Now, also another important thing, don't forget, I had a great contest that is running. The time is running out. Okay, is the contest that you are allowed. You have the one winner will be the lucky person to win a free diamond membership at Frontside Nevada, $15,000 value. I am offering it. This is not Frontside sponsor. I am offering it to you. And if you want to find out how you can have the chance to have this lifetime membership at Frontside Nevada, the best, in my opinion, one of the best, at least, firearm institutes in the world, you go to www.lovegunsfreedom.com. Now, that's pretty much today's show. We have a lot of topics we touch, and I want to leave you with a song that I wrote in 2005. It's a song about the last day, or at least when that day will come. Think about it. Put all in perspective. What you will think about the rest of your life, what you will think about your past life when that day will come. And that day will come to every one of us. If you're rich, if you're poor, if you're beautiful, if you're ugly, doesn't matter. We're all going to leave this shell, and we go to the next destination. You've been listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with Luca Zanna. Thank you for your support, and share the show. Thank you.
tried. There's more than we can see. There's more than we can be. Sometimes we get lost. Now